Hello, I'm Julia and I knit a lot. Welcome to my channel, Julia Knitsalot. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a while. Life has been really busy and maybe I can talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. Just in case you're not interested in hearing all about that, there's not too much to say. Yeah, let's dive into the knitting. I have been knitting a lot, as usual, but for some projects I had more motivation than others, let's put it that way. I still have some lingering winter stuff and I just have no inspiration, no motivation to work on a very heavy winter sweater on 7mm needles. It's just I just don't feel like working on that anymore. But I do have a lot of inspiration for spring and summer knitting. I took out some of the summer yarns that I have. I actually don't have that much summer yarn compared to other yarns in my stash, so I actually bought some yarn because I want to make all the summer sweaters, no, summer tees. So I'm feeling inspired to do that. So yeah, I added a little bit to my stash, but I also used a lot, so we will see in the end how that works out. But I have been seeing a lot of spring knitting and summer knitting inspiration, so I also cast on a shawl. I wanted to make a light shawl, triangular shawl for spring and summer evenings maybe. So I cast on the Citadel shawl by Janina, Kallio, if that's how it's pronounced, I'm not sure. Maybe Janina. So she has a lot of many shawl patterns, and this one is actually one of her older patterns. I think it's 10 years old, but it got updated in 2024. So this is your typical triangular shawl construction where you start here at the top in the middle and you increase along the middle and on the two edges. And that gives you this type of shawl, this type of triangular shawl. This pattern is worked up in garter stitch and in dropped stitches. So I haven't worked drop stitches either ever or in such a long time that I don't remember. So must have been, I think my very first sweater that I made myself, I don't own it anymore, I think was a summer garment by Drops, and I think it had dropped stitches. In hindsight, it was quite ambitious for a beginner. But yeah, I think that's the only other project I ever made with dropped stitches. But I wanted to try them out, and I think it will create a very fluid and drapey and breathable shawl for cooler summer days or spring days or maybe the evenings. Yeah, so this color is typically a color that I feel very much drawn to in spring. And I know it's not ideal for me, for my skin. I think this type of warm pastel colors is probably some of the worst kind of color that I could choose. Especially this kind of butter yellow that was very much in maybe last year or 2 years ago. I look terrible in that kind of color. And this one similarly is more like a warm green, pale green. I think it's a beautiful color. It's just not ideal on me. but I don't care. I really wanted to see how the yarn works up, and I was just feeling very springy and I wanted to try it. So, and it doesn't always have to be like the perfect match for my coloring. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta have fun with color and yeah, try it out. So the yarn is Life in the Longgrass Merino Linen Singles. So it's 10% linen and 90% superwash merino. And the colorway is Mint Grove. So this is the colorway. And that's how it looks. So I think it's a really beautiful colorway. And it actually, what kind of fascinates me about this colorway is the mix of very light, cool, minty greens and then more warmer greens, but still very pastel-y. And then there are little flecks of darker green, like almost like a moss green, but only speckles, and also lime green. But if you look at it in the skein, I think the color looks a little bit cooler than worked up. So I was really curious to see how this play in color variation, you can see it here, how there's a little bit like more warm toned green here, and it's more cool minty here. And I really wanted to see how it works up. And I think in the fabric it looks warmer. I think the cooler minty parts get a little bit, I don't know, they're not as prominent somehow. And the lime green flecks, they're not super visible actually. So I am marking the middle stitch with these two beautiful ring markers that I got in an advent from the Fiber Fox. I think the company or small business that makes those stitch markers in the advent is called Malika, if I'm not mistaken. And I also added this small progress keeper, this tiny little heart, because I need to mark for myself the right side of the fabric, because they're basically reversible. I do have a mistake somewhere, but if you have to search for your mistake, can't be that bad. It's here. Now I lost it again. Oh, here. Yeah. It's okay. I think it's not a big deal. So my plan with this shawl, I'm happy how it worked up. I actually made all of this in a week. So other projects that I had less motivation to work on, yeah, were just sitting there while I was working up on this. This project is apparently this pattern is designed to use only one skein. So I will use up the skein and I will see how big the shawl is. This is an older pattern. I think it might be a little bit, the shawl might be a little bit on the smaller side compared to what I would like. So I think if I use it up and it's smaller than I like, I will add 1 or 2 repeats, because I still have a lot of this yarn. So the story behind this yarn. I have 4 skeins of this yarn because 2 years ago or 3 years ago already, I wanted to participate in the MCAL, Helen Stewart MCAL. I think it was the Miss May MCAL. And you could either buy 4 different colors She always does like a mystery shawl, lace knitting mystery shawl, and you could either buy 4 colors or do it in 1 color. And I wanted to do it in 1 color, and because it was spring, I felt like buying this color. And then the pattern came out, and I didn't really want to make that shawl for myself anymore. I just didn't think that the style suits me, and it was also a circular shawl, so it was like basically a huge circle. And many people then said they don't really like that shape, and she very quickly adapted it also for a semicircle, and I think that was really great. So many people were then able to do the semicircular shawl, but I still didn't feel like the kind of pattern in the shawl was something that I would see for myself. So I decided not to make it, and then I just had these 4 skeins sitting in my stash. So yeah, I just, once again, I think I'm just never really successful with MCAL stuff. I think it's not for me. Let's put it that way. Or I wait until the pattern comes out and have a look, and then I decide. But then, for some people that's the fun of MCAL, but maybe I'm not one of those people. Seeing, not knowing what you will make. But I guess I'm not made for that. So yeah, I think the yarn is beautiful, but I don't really know what I will do with the rest of my 4 skeins. Once I have used up 1 of them, I still have 3. Maybe I will add a little bit to this shawl to make it bigger, but I will still have at least 2.5 skeins of this yarn. So maybe I can gift it to someone, or I will keep it, and maybe at some point I will have inspiration to make something with it in a different shawl or as a gift for someone. I don't think I need 2 shawls in this color, to be honest. Oh, and what I wanted to say. So, again, this has lime green flecks that don't really show off that well, but I was thinking, you have this huge fabric, well, not that huge, but you have this fabric all in this color, and maybe it would be fun to add a little bit of a pop to make it a little bit more fresh and modern. So I was thinking, this is Ballyhora fibers from Ireland, and the colorway is Ivanhoe. And this, I was thinking this would make a really good addition, like a color pop for this shawl. So I might at the end just not do the bind off that she suggests in the pattern, but I think I will do an I-cord in this color. And I think that would make it look a little bit more zesty and fresh and summery and modern. I think this kind of combination works really well. So, and I also would like to add, I made a little modification. I added 2 stitches, a 2-stitch I-cord to the edge. She didn't have that, so you would have this kind of garter bump along the edge, and I don't like that. I want a clean, like a flat edge, if you can put it that way. So I added 2 stitches on each side, which means that in the setup I had to do a little bit of calculation with the stitch count and just how many knit stitches do I need on each edge and stuff like that. But now everything has worked out, and I'm just cruising along with my little modification. And I think it looks really neat. Gives a neat little edge. I think it just looks cleaner that way. Yeah. So this one, while we are talking about MCal, this one was part of an MCal kit I bought at Stephen and Penelope last year. Although I had no intention of actually making the MCal, but I just got sucked in by their marketing, I guess. So I bought an MCal kit, and I was under the impression that it would be yarns that they dye specifically for the MCal, but as it turned out, they just kind of picked what they had in their store and put together colorways to make a kit. So yeah, I mean, I am happy with the yarn. There are 3 more skeins that came in the kit from the same dyer, and those are very dark and moody greens and browns. And then this was the color pop, and I like the yarn, so I don't regret buying the kit. I just don't really have any immediate use for it apart from this, adding this to the shawl. Okay, so in the spirit of summer knitting, I took out an old whip that I hibernated last summer. So I have it over here. I started this is super bright. This is a little bit more orange than red in real life. So imagine like coral orange, but in more neon shade. That's basically this. So I started this last summer, and I think I already talked about this in my maybe first or second video. And this is the Maema cardigan by Nodeker. So there's not too much to see yet at this point. I use the yarn Tin Line by Sandnes Garn, and the colorway is Flame Scarlet. So it's a little bit more orange in real life, I think. You might have seen it in your yarn store. It's I think they still have it in their color selection. They sometimes switch up their colors, but I think they still carry this Sandnes Garn. And I have like 12 balls of this yarn because I was envisioning this, something like this. So that's actually why I'm wearing this today. I was envisioning something like a super loose, drapey, oversized overlayer for summer. So I was actually searching a long time for a pattern, and I never found something that I liked. Either the yarn weight didn't match what I was envisioning, or the construction, or just there was always something that I wasn't completely convinced by. And then I decided to do the Maema cardigan. It has her pattern has a stitch pattern along the back. I omitted that. I did it completely in stockinette, and her pattern also doesn't have a lot of positive ease. So I sized up. I actually went for a size L because I wanted to have a lot of positive ease, and I have to say I'm not really feeling it. So I took this out. I started it last summer. I did all the raglan increases, split for the sleeves, and then put it away for winter because I knew that at that point I could just pick it up again a couple of months later, and I just knew I just have to work on the body. So there's no shaping or anything. So should be fine just picking it up again half a year or so after putting it away. And that was completely fine, but I'm just not feeling the project. I'm not feeling the pattern. I think the color is fun. I mean, I know it's like really out there, but I'm envisioning this with, I mean, it goes with black, but it's a little bit a harsh contrast. I do have like very loose summer pants, like mousseline. We call it mousseline in German. I don't know if you also call it like that in English. Or gauze. In a very light beige color. So I'm just envisioning like a summer outfit in neutrals and then this. I think that could work. But it's just not working how I want it to work out. So this is a very, I mean, this is not knitted, obviously. My mom bought this for me as a souvenir when she was in Bali, like 10 years ago. I guess she just bought it at a like tourist market or I don't know, maybe at the beach. So, it's really nothing special. It's basically a rectangle and 2 sleeves. But I really like wearing this in summer. You can pop it on and it just kind of gives you some kind of coverage. My skin actually burns quite easily, although I'm, like a dark type. My hair and my eyes are dark, but my skin burns easily. So sometimes I need to cover up my shoulders. So let's have a look. That's the kind of ease. That's the kind of ease I was going for. And instead, now let's do some changing. Now I'm putting this on and I'm just thinking it's probably not going to kind of be what I was hoping. Okay, so this contrast with the black tea is really sharp. I'm sorry about that. But you can see I did the raglan increase. It would have like a really, really, really deep sleeve. I'm fine with that. It's supposed to be really oversized. And I'm now at the part where you start just working flat on the body. So again, let's look at this. I mean, of course, now it's rolling up a bit because it's stockinette. But even then, maybe it would go like this. It hangs straight. And then you pick up all the stitches and you do a button band. And I was actually thinking I might do a double knit button band. So that would be a lot of work. But if it looks nice, I think it's worth putting in the effort. But if I put in all this work, I mean, I want this to be huge. And I want it to be kind of long. It is a lot of work. And it takes a lot of yarn. That's why I bought so much of this yarn. And I'm just thinking, and then picking up all the stitches and doing all the button band, it really has to be worth it. And I'm not sure if it's worth it. So please tell me, what should I do at this point? Just thinking it doesn't really, I guess it looks better on screen. I did also do a little bit of tiny modification on the side. Just doesn't look as, I don't think it kind of will turn out what I want it to be. So I think I might have to frog. And that's a little bit annoying because I'm already on the second ball. And if you have ever knit with Teen Line, you know it takes a while to knit up a ball of Teen Line. It's, I think, 250 meters. 220. I'm working this up on a 3.25 millimeter. It has rubbed off, so I can't tell you the US equivalent to that. But they're small needles. I mean, I'm not, I can do a big project in fingering weight. I am a patient person. I know it takes a long time. That's okay for me. But I have to know that I'm putting in the work for something that I'm actually going to love. And I don't feel like that right now. So what should I do? Should I frog all of this? I think I will just throw it in a corner until I forget about it. And then next time I find it, I'll go, oh yeah, that thing. Oh, I forgot I still have it. And then I guess I will be fine with frogging. Yeah, I think for now it will just go somewhere in a basket in timeout. And then I will put my effort towards something that I feel excited for. I like making summer teas, but they do take a while because I usually make summer teas in fingering weight. As I have said, I don't mind small needles, I like that, but it takes a while. So I don't think I can make more than 1 or 2 summer teas before summer is over, because I make a lot of stuff at the same time. But I guess it's realistic for me to say that it might take at least 2 months to make a summer tea. And so I kind of have to plan, what do I want to put my time towards? So I have a limited amount of time. How do I want to use my knitting time? Do I want to make something that I'm not quite happy with? No, I don't. So that's that. Yeah, and then I need to figure out what I will do with 12 balls of bright red tinline. Yeah, I mean, I can do a tea, but then I still have a lot. Oh, actually, before I started recording, I had an idea of, Anke Strick. She has a cardigan, the garden cardigan, I think. And I've been wanting to make that for a while. And it also has pockets, which I think is really great. So I was thinking maybe I could hold the tinline double and make that cardigan. But I also remember that I actually, before starting the Maema cardigan or Meema cardigan, I did swatch with tinline double, and I didn't like the thickness of the fabric as much as I liked it held single. But that garden cardigan, it does have a lace motif, I think, or eyelet kind of motif, so it might be a little bit more drapey than the stockinette stitch swatch that I had made with the tinline held double. I need to look into that. So that might be something. And maybe my sister will get some of the yarn if she wants. We will see. Or I can make a tee, I can make a tank top, but that doesn't take 12 balls of yarn. So, but I will figure something out. Okay, so that's my second spring-summer whip. Now, I was talking about feeling really excited for a tea that I want to make, and I actually bought yarn for that tea. So I bought 5 balls, and I know I want to reduce my stash, but I actually don't have that many summer yarns, apart from 12 balls of red tin linen. So no, the yarn that I bought, I actually have been meaning to make something with this exact yarn in this exact color for about 3 years, and I never bought it, and this year I bought it. So this is not an impulse buy, just to be very clear. This is very much not an impulse buy. I bought Isager 302, and the colorway is chestnut. It does not say on the label. Oh, it does. So the colorway is chestnut. Can you see that? And the composition is 50% linen, 30% cotton, and 20% lyocell. So I have made a swatch, and I also washed the swatch. I put it on this kind of stitch holder thingy because I didn't want to cut the yarn. I washed it like this, so the ball is still attached. I really like how it worked up. I think it looks really nice, but you can also see on screen it is a little bit sheer, so you can see through the fabric. And that's what kind of makes me think, it makes me second guess the plan that I originally had for this yarn. So I wanted to make the Prospect Tee by Tori Yu, or Tori Yu as it's also pronounced. Although I have to say the syllable YU in Chinese is actually Yu, but because she's American Chinese, well, I'm not sure if she's American Chinese, I'm just assuming actually. But she lives in America, so I guess her name has kind of been Americanized into Tori Yu. But you know, I can speak Chinese, so, well, not that well, but well enough to know how stuff is pronounced in Chinese. So it kind of triggers my instinct to pronounce it as Yu. But nobody else pronounces it that way, so I guess I should pronounce it Yu. Maybe I should. It would be interesting to ask her what she thinks is the correct pronunciation of her surname. Anyway, I wanted to make the Prospect Tee. And the gauge would be okay, but you can see, I mean, you can already see on screen how it's, you know, the dark background from my tee is, and the skin, you can see how it's shining through. So I don't know if I want that, but this is knit on 3mm, this swatch. I don't want to go down to a 2.5mm needles to make a summer tee. That would take forever. And on my skin, if I put it on my skin like this, it's not sheer if it's sitting on the skin, but I'm just imagining that I'm wearing like something underneath and I have it like this. It is a little bit see-through. So I have to decide, I have to make a decision. Is this supposed to be a tee that I can wear to work? Then I need to do something else. Or is this supposed to be a tee that I wear to the beach, where it doesn't matter if it's a little bit sheer, then it's fine. But I really want to make this tee, so maybe I should just go for it and wear something else to work. Yeah, because actually I saw Petite Knit just today posted pictures on Instagram of her knitting up a new summer pattern with this exact yarn in this exact colorway, held double. And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I could hold it double. But I do like the light fabric of a fingering weight. Or maybe this is more like a sport. So, decisions. I need to make decisions, and that's the reason why I haven't started my tea yet. Maybe you have suggestions. If you do, please let me know. Please help me. You can see through this. I mean, clearly you can see through this. I'm not like 21 and like super slim, and I mean, I feel comfortable in my body, but I don't want to show it to everyone, you know? I don't need to wear sheer shirts around town. I mean, I could wear a camisole, but then it's warmer, you know? Then you start to feel warmer quicker. I want to wear this without a camisole. Yeah, and that's my main problem, I guess, with summer knitting. I do like wearing summer tees, but I'm struggling with making summer... This is all tangled up. I'm struggling with making summer tees that are, you know, not see-through. There are also so many cute tees out there with like eyelet and lace, but I don't want eyelets and lace all over my body because I don't want to wear something, I don't want to wear a camisole underneath, and I don't want to show my belly button to everyone. You know, I have had 2 kids. I'm not, my belly is not that type of belly anymore. Okay, I need to stop this. Okay, but I also want to make a different summer tea. I really have a lot of inspiration right now for summer knitting. So I have in my stash 3 balls of this, Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in this very soft pink. Ballerina is the colorway. And I have 3 balls. I can make I have made a cumulus tea, or even 2, with 3 balls of pure silk. I can just about squeeze out a cumulus tea with 3 balls of pure silk, but it is cropped, rather cropped, and the sleeves are about this length. So the original pattern has like elbow length sleeves, and if I use 3 balls it will be like this, which is fine for me. I have no intention of making another cumulus tea. I really love wearing my cumulus tees, but I feel like the fit, I made the V-neck one, it always rides back. So, and because it's already quite cropped, it kind of goes up. And then I really need to make sure that I'm not showing my belly again to everyone. So I'm not making a cumulus tea with 3 balls of pure silk, even though I could. And I want to try something else anyway. So I was thinking, I have 3 balls of this. I'm pretty sure I have 5 balls of this. I think I will not use 5 balls of this. And if I do, I could still go to my yarn store, to my local yarn store, and buy another ball. I bought this like 2 months ago, so I'm pretty sure they still have it. And I was thinking, this combo, I'm really feeling this combo. I'm envisioning a striped summer tea in this color with stripes, you know, whatever is left from the other tea, once I decide what I want to make with it, whatever is left could be put into a striped tea with this. And it just makes me feel like this might be some kind of ice cream, and these are chocolate, like when you grate chocolate over ice cream. Chocolate pieces. Let's just call it chocolate pieces. I think this would be really good. Oh, I really like this. I was actually considering not doing the other tea and just kind of risking it and making this first, because I'm feeling this kind of combo. I'm just feeling more inspired by this. Let me know what you think. Somebody needs to help me make a decision. Okay, and I would use up this. That's good. I added a couple of balls to my stash, but I'm also using stash, so that's important this year. But I also bought some more summer yarn while we're talking about summer yarn. I bought 6 balls of Johanne, which is a yarn that you can buy at Save the Yarn, which is a Swiss store online, and they also have a store in Basel. And they sell, I think they sell like mill ends from like fashion industry. They just sell or maybe overproduction, or I don't know, from bigger yarn brands probably, or fashion production. I don't know actually where they're sourcing their yarn. So they always have like specific small batches of yarn, and the yarn composition is sometimes quite interesting. The color selection is usually more limited to like gray and white and black and navy and more like neutral colors, because I guess that's more what is being used currently in the fashion industry. So they have Johanne currently, and it is 60% linen and 40% silk. So I think this would be a really nice, and it's a really dark navy. I think this looks good on me. Like this kind of color is almost like a neutral for me. I can wear it with almost anything. So I have 6 balls, because it's like mill ends or overproduction or leftover from fashion industry, whatever it is. Because of that, her yarn is usually a little bit more affordable, and I think it's also quite cool to use something that would otherwise go to waste. So it's kind of, I think I really like the concept, but you have to be a little bit more flexible with the yarn, because they only have a limited amount, and because it's not like a large brand that sells the yarn, you don't have like something. I mean, she does give you a needle size, but of course you cannot go to Ravelry and like Google or enter the yarn and find projects that have been made with the yarn, because it's just such a small batch. So I bought 6 balls of the Johanne, and I'm really intrigued. I need to make a swatch first, and then I will decide what I make with this. But I was thinking, if I have 6 balls, I could make like a very simple shirt, like a very classic simple shirt. Maybe I think Tori Yu has the Skyline tee. I think that one could look really nice in this yarn, but I need to swatch it first. And or since the red cardigan is not really working out, and if I'm not making a cardigan with the yarn held double, I could also do a cardigan with this. And maybe it would not be like full sleeve length, but if it's something that I want to wear in summer, it could be 3/4 sleeves, just like a top layer. I think that could also be really nice. So let me know if you have any ideas. So I have already been talking for quite a while, and I still want to show you, maybe very quickly, my winter stuff. Maybe you are in Australia or New Zealand and you feel like super excited for all the cozy stuff, then this is for you. Because I have some cozy stuff. So, but I will probably show this only very briefly. I finished the port jacket, And it's way too warm to put this on, but I will do it just to show it off. Woof! This is warm. I think it looks nice. I haven't put on the buttons yet. I couldn't be bothered. It's basically finished. The one thing that's still missing are the buttons. So I cannot leave this on for too long. So this is the port jacket by Ozetta. I have talked about this before. I was feeling unsure about the size and the fit and everything. I really like it. It's super cozy. But this yarn, Per Gynt, Sandnesgarn Per Gynt, and Kamaros Midnattsol. I will probably have white fluff everywhere after wearing this. It's quite fluffy, it's quite warm, but the Per Gynt is, I wouldn't say it's scratchy, but it's also not like super soft. So I can wear this in winter, but I'm now quite warm already. It's a very sunny day, so I'm rather warm, and this is not immensely comfortable. This is like a winter type of garment for me. But really, very briefly, I just want to show what I have done since the last time I talked about it. I did the tubular bind off. I think it turned out quite well. This is a marker for the first button. Once I can force myself to actually do that. And I did the contrast color bind off, also tubular bind off, on the sleeves, which I think looks really nice. This is Long Yarns Merino 120 held double. I had this, I still have some of it, in many small balls because I had to frog it from a Douglas cardigan by Andrea Mowry that I made years ago, and it was too small. And because it was bottom up, I basically already finished the whole garment before I realized that it was too small, and I had to frog all of it. Now I have lots of tiny balls and I will probably never make an Andrea Mowry garment again because the sleeves were really tight. I did see the Traveler hoodie quite a bit, and I actually quite like it. So I might give her another chance, but only for the Traveler. So what I actually really like is the color. You pick up, this is by Ozetta, I think I already said that, the port jacket. You pick up, you do the color. I think there were short rows. So you kind of build this higher color in the back and shorter in the front. And as you can see, I added a contrast color. And so you pick up here and then you knit to a certain point, like a certain length. And she tells you now, this is where you would kind of then, when you bind it off, you fold the collar. But so you basically knit double the length and then you fold it and sew it down. What I did was just a little bit before that point, I switched the color to this dark gray, again the same yarn that I had frogged, and I made the inside of the collar in this dark yarn. And then for the bind off, I changed back to the white. I did that because I'm quite sensitive on my neck, and I didn't want to have the Per Gynt directly on my neck. And I think it looks cool. You can also see, maybe I should take it off and show you. You can see here, I did the first 2 stitches with the main yarn still attached. So I basically did, is this intarsia? I just added a new yarn for the third stitch, and every time I would come across this point, I would switch the yarns and kind of turn them, cross them. Is this already in tarsia? I mean, that's so simple. I just improvised. But I think it turned out well. I think it turned out nicely. So this is the inside. So you can see the bind off with the white yarn again, with the main yarn. Yeah, so I'm actually pleased with the port jacket. I was hesitant when I was working on it, but now I'm pleased with the outcome. I still need to attach the buttons. It will just be like from a big box store, like white ivory kind of buttons. Okay, I need to get a move on. You know, if you think my videos are too long, you don't have to watch all of it at once. Yeah, I mean, I haven't recorded in 2 months and there's lots to talk about. But I always add chapters because I think it's actually really easy to add chapters, and I think it's just a nice thing to do for the viewer, because sometimes you have to interrupt the video and then it's a good thing if you can go back and find the same spot again. And also sometimes people talk about stuff that's not interesting to me, so I skip. So I think with chapters it's not that bad if a video is a little bit longer. So this is the heavy winter sweater that I'm not inspired to work on, also known as Jilli Jam by Ventzel. And usually if I feel like this about a project, I put it into hibernation and I take it out again a little bit later. But I'm so close. I'm like 90% done. I only need to do the sleeve cuffs and after that weaving in the ends. So let's just finish this already, okay? So this is it. This is how it looks. I'm not putting this on right now because I will be melting. And I think I will talk about this a little bit in more detail once I finish it. But just to give you a little bit of an update. So I have been busy. I have worked on this. I'm almost done. And now I'm doing I'm at the point where I have to do the cuffs. And also the cuffs are not fun because they're in twisted rib. And I'm holding 3 strands. I'm working on a 7mm needles. It's not fun to do that in twisted rib. It's just not fun. I like the sweater, I like the outcome. Yeah, but I'm just so over it. Okay, so this is that. And I will keep you updated. And then maybe I will talk about this a little bit more in detail next time. And I mean, maybe nobody wants to hear about this heavy sweater in June. Unless you're as I said, in Australia, then maybe you will be super excited to hear about it. Okay, and then the last final. This is actually a finished object. I finished my Garter Blanket, and this took me almost exactly to the day 1 year. So yeah, I mean, it's big. The how do you call this? Like the length and the width, the proportions of the blanket are not exactly what I envisioned, but now it's a little bit more of a square, and I was envisioning more like a longer rectangle, but I still like it. So for this I used long alpaca socks in this kind of petrol colorway, and I used 6 balls of it, and 1 ball is 100 grams, so I used 600 grams of that throughout. So I was holding 2 strands double throughout the blanket, and I noted down somewhere how many stitches I cast on. Maybe, I don't remember, I think it was 220, something like that. It's quite wide. I have a Ravelry project for this, but I think I need to add all the quantities of all the yarns that I used. So one strand was always this alpaca yarn, and then I was just knitting in garter stitch the whole way through, and made a 3-stitch I-cord on the edge. And then I used up yarns that I had. So apart from the base yarn, like the alpaca yarn, that one I bought specifically for the blanket, but the rest I think is all stuff that I had in my stash. And oh no, there's 1 ball of blue midnight sole that I also bought. Where is it? It's like one of those fluffy, this one here. So you can see there's a lot of different color shades in this, and in real life this leans a little bit more green. So this is this kind of green-blue type of color that's really hard for the camera to pick up. And I just added navy, like a navy sock yarn. I added some kind of green mohair. Sometimes I held the alpaca yarn double. I think this is a leftover from Sumness Sunday in like a gray bluish color that I also added in. So I used up a lot of smaller balls of yarn, like partial skeins, and put them into this blanket. And mostly I didn't buy yarn for, like, apart from the color that goes throughout, I didn't buy any extra apart from that 1 ball of midnight sole. But there's a lot of leftover yarn or stash yarn in this. So this actually takes out a lot of yarn from my stash tally. So I have my notebook with my stash numbers, and maybe I can give you a small stash update. So I noted it down, and you know, the Jilli jam, once it's done, it will take out a lot of yardage or grams out of my stash, but for now, because I haven't finished yet, it's still in there. But soon I will be able to take out quite a bit from that number. My update since my last video, so let's just say this is the update for February, March, April. So now is the beginning of May. I wanted to add the number that I used for the port jacket, the yarn that I used, and then I realized I never really added it in the first place. So, and I bought this in August. So I also had to add 800 grams of yarn to the stash number, although I didn't buy it this year. I bought it last August, but because I had forgotten to add it in there in the first place, I had to add it. I also bought the 5 balls of Isager trio and the 6 balls of the Johanna, and I think I bought like 2 balls of Drops Air for the Jilli jam. So overall, and because I had to add the port jacket yarn, overall the number that the grams that I added to my stash in this time period is 1,450 grams, which sounds like a lot. But most of it I didn't buy this year. And then, luckily, I also used some of that port jacket yarn. So, not all of it, but some of it. So I also used like 650 grams or something for the port jacket. So there's that. I also used a lot of yarn for this Garter blanket, and yeah, so I donated, or I gifted a ball of mohair, because I found it. I don't like to use mohair anymore. So I used, or gifted, just out of stash, let's put it that way, out of stash, 1,539 grams. So the difference for the last 3 months is only 89 grams. And that's not a lot. But again, I have been working on a big, heavy sweater. Once that is finished, I will be able to take out a lot of grams from my stash number. And I had to add the yarn that I bought last summer and had forgotten to put in. So that's why the difference is not that great, actually. But I think next time, once the Jilli jam is done, I will be able to hopefully have a bigger number for the yarn used. And I'm also really inspired to use my summer yarn that I bought, so I'm not hoping that this will stay in my stash for very long. I'm really planning to use this summer season. I'm not sure if I will get around to using this, simply because summer knits take a while, so I'm not sure if I will be able to make as many fingering weight tops in this time. And I really want to do this striped version. Yes. Okay, I think that's all. And my shawl, my Citadel shawl, will also use some stash yarn. I'm working on it. But I have seen the Fiber Fox. I have bought her yarn advents for 3 years now. She always has so beautiful colors. And she has released the color palette for her yarn advent this year. And it's like dark and moody colors. And I think those colors would really speak to me. I shouldn't buy another advent. I haven't used her last advent yet. I like it. I had a plan for it, and then the colors didn't quite turn out how I envisioned. And so I didn't use it for that plan. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to use it. I like the colors, but it wasn't what I had in mind for that specific project. So I don't know. I should be, if I was strict with myself, I would say, don't spend the money on an advent. You have enough yarn and it's expensive, and then you will have to pay customs and will be even more expensive. But also, I really want it. I'm really, I don't want to do this kind of consumerism thing. I really don't want to do that. And I really want to use what I have. But sometimes I think I do have a lot of stuff that I have because it was gifted, or because it was in a subscription box, or because I bought it a long time ago and I just don't really like it anymore. So maybe I should just also de-stash some yarn and buy the Advent if it's something that I really like. No, I think, I mean, it's good to try to use what you have, but I also think we only have a limited amount of time, resources to use on our knitting or whatever craft you like to do. And sometimes I think it's not worth forcing yourself to use something that you hate. I don't think I hate anything that I own, but something that maybe you bought a long time ago when you didn't understand the fiber composition, or maybe your taste has changed. So maybe I should just let go of some stuff and allow myself to buy something else, but see it as a luxury investment. I mean, it is expensive for me to buy that Advent, I have to say. So I really don't want to give off the impression that I'm just buying willy-nilly. There's a lot of consideration going into this. I mean, if I don't buy that much throughout the year, I think it's okay. I need to think about it. Yeah, so a lot of rambling about stash. What I kind of don't like is, at the beginning of the year, I did the same thing. Everybody has these big goals of, I want to reduce my stash, but I know it's really hard to stick with it. I know. And I mean, I'm also buying new yarns. I didn't go on a yarn ban. I didn't do that because I knew that wouldn't work for me. I just want to use more than I buy. But at the same time, sometimes I see people talking about this, and some people buy so much yarn. I just get anxious. Like, oh, you have so much. The next time, again, cones, and knitted, and oh my gosh, you bought even more? When are you going to use all of that? So I'm really trying to not have this kind of approach toward buying yarn. I try to be very mindful of buying yarn, but I also want to allow myself some joy sometimes, and not kind of be too harsh. I still think it should be something that brings me joy. So sometimes it's actually a reward for myself if that's actually it could be a reward for myself. So I forgot to talk about that. The reason why I wasn't filming for so long is because I am about to publish my very first academic book, like a monograph, with an academic publisher. And at the beginning of the month, so they had my manuscript for a while now, and it went to the copy editor. That's all normal. And the copy editor took a while to do his corrections and remarks. And then I got his version back, and I had to go through 200 pages of edits in about 3 or 4 weeks. And that was just so stressful. And because it's an academic book, it does take a lot of thinking. It does take a lot of focus, and it's quite exhausting to do this kind of work. And I had to do this on top of everything else. So the last couple of weeks and maybe the last 2 months were like really stressful and exhausting. And I sent back the edits. They are still looking over some of the stuff that wasn't clear what he actually meant when he added stuff to my original text. But it's supposed to come out in summer, hopefully. And I was just thinking, you know, talking about rewards. I could buy this Advent as a reward to myself for finally finishing my book. I think I should do that. Okay, let me know what you think. Okay, thank you so much if you're still around. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a longer video, but there was just so much to talk about. It's been a while. I hope you are well. I hope you find some joy in crafting, in knitting, or whatever you enjoy to do. And happy knitting or happy crafting, and see you next time. Bye!